And this is them moving away from their polytheistic view, more into a monotheistic view. Now, before I continue on to the next slide, I wanted to chime in and say I'm a big advocate when it comes to finding other sources. I don't like to rely on just one source and just fly with it. I like to do my due diligence and see if other people, researchers, are talking about this. And to my surprise, well, not my surprise, because this is well known now, Sanford Holst, the lead, I want to say that again, the lead researcher when it comes to the Phoenicians, has this book, as you can see. I read it myself too and reviewed it, so I wanted to throw a segment in where he chimes in about the Canaanites and the Hebrews. So let's look at this here. So let's start from right here in the book Phoenicians. To the south of Canaan lay Egypt and Arabian lands. These were likewise sources of commerce and discoveries, but also from time to time of marching armies and mounted troops. Like I said, there's a lot of fighting going around this time in the Mesopotamian area. Even in times of relative peace, there was an ongoing ebb and flow of people between these outside areas and Canaan. This was brought on by drought and warlords in those outlying days, causing many people to flee into Canaan. But drought sometimes also drove people out of this land and into Egypt. Yeah, I don't know why Egypt gets a lot of hate, but as you can clearly see here, a lot of people went to Egypt for refuge because of the droughts and the ongoing war, because Egypt actually had an army, a very strong army indeed, and was actually one of the leading areas where everybody came in to learn from. Aristotle, Herodotus, Plato, all talked about coming here and learning from the Egyptians and learning from their mystery schools. But let's continue from where I left off. Over time, the people and culture of different parts of Canaan evolved to reflect all these changes that stormed through the crossroads. Ugritte and many other Canaanites adopted the male gods of the warlike people who set upon them. Like I said earlier, a lot of people coming in and out of this area, so different religions, different cultures were all just getting flowed through here. So it was common to people to take bits and pieces from other religions and infuse it into their own. So let's continue and brought out those attributes into their lives. Worship of Mother Nature fell into the background of these practices, or were banished completely into the darkness of obscurity. The chief god of the Canaanite pantheon was acknowledged as El, as we talked about before, called the father of man. The lesser deities were Baal, the god of fertility, Asherah, there's her name again, the consort of Baal, Yam, the god of the sea, and the Mot, the god of the deaf. Interestingly, the Hebrews who later lived among the Canaanites, like I said, they were in this area. Jerusalem is in the area of Canaanite. You can look up online. After the time of their founding by Abraham, also called their god El. Like I said again, they infuse different cultures and religions together and use Yam as their word for sea and Mot as a word for death. Hebrew culture was heavily influenced by the Canaanites in the early days, even while it was developing in its robust and unique set of characteristics. One of the appealing aspects of Canaanite religious ceremonies, which attracted many followers, was that it involved large amounts of alcoholic beverages and sexual promiscuity. Like I said, Asherah is a fertility goddess, so these rites, practices were going on. But yeah, with priests joining the worshippers and sharing an excess of drink and sexuality. So there you have it there. Early recordings of the Hebrews coming in and mingling in with the other groups that were in Canaan. But I want to show another example as that in another book. On this next slide, I'm going to be showing you the book The Great Mother by Eric Newman, another great companion book to the Hebrew goddess that I have in my library. I'm going to read a couple of sentences from there, highlighted here. Of the Stone Age sculptures known to us, there are 55 female figures and only 5 male figures. The male figures of youth are typically and poorly executed, hence it is certain that they had no significance for the cult. This fits in with the secondary character of the male godhead, who appeared only later in history of religions and derived his divine rank from his mother, the goddess. So from that last side, I wanted to give you a little bit of context that long time ago, thousands of years ago, one of the first figurines that was carved by early man was depicted as this right here, this female statue called the Venus of Hulfels, also known as the Venus of Schleiner. In German, various Venus from Holmfels, vom Helfels, is an Upper Paleolithic Venus figurine made of mammoth ivory that was unearthed in 2008 in Hulfels, a cave near Schleiner, Germany. It is dated between 40,000 and 35,000 years ago, belonging to an early Organocene at the very beginning of the Upper Paleolithic, which is associated with the earliest presence of Cro-Magnon in Europe. The figure is the oldest undisputed example of a depiction of a human being. In terms of Ligurian art and the lion-headed, the Venus figurine is housed at the Preserved Museum Barbarian. Now look at this. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, and which coincides with the Hebrew goddess as them firstly depicting females first and honoring female deities. But yeah, what do you guys think? But let's keep going. And there we have it, guys. We reached the end of the review. So let's go over some key points that we talked about in the beginning. We showed early worship of Asherah by the Hebrew and the Canaan people, as we've seen in earlier texts that there was multiple people residing in Canaan, not just one group of people, to the Jebusites, to the Hebrews, to the Phoenicians, which I really want to make a video about the Phoenicians. They played a really crucial part when it came to Egypt and when it came to Greek. So look for that in the future. We also showed that the early Hebrews were polytheistic and not monotheistic. Just to drive in real quick, polytheistic is the belief of many gods, not just one, to go over, and monotheistic is just one. So we showed that it was actually polytheistic in the proto-Hebrew days. We also show the description of Yahweh and Asherah together on the pottery that was found dated back. They do carbon dating. That's how we find how old things are, the process that carbon takes to affect on an item. So that was in the 8th century BCE. So there's evidence for that. And the oldest figurine depicting a female, which we've seen, and also carbon dated to 35,000 to 40,000 years ago, which shows that early man worshipped and honored the female aspect, deity, energy, what have you, but they understood that the female was a strong characteristic back in the day and it was to be honored. But yeah, so just want to say, if I had to really put in my answer, if give you a, let's say, a rating, I would say it's 4.8 out of 5. It was really good. The evidence is there. I'm able to look up things and compare. Like I said, I'm a big advocate for reading books because I don't like to just go to one source. I like to see multiple sources. So to show again a good companion book, again, that helped out with this was Phoenicians. You can get it on Amazon. It's not that much if you're interested. See where I got some of this information from. Also, The Great Mother, which is a really good read. This made me look at the female aspect in a different way. So, made you think about how early men really looked at each other and how it wasn't so material, it was more of like a mystical form. But yeah, again, want to say if you're really interested in this, look it up online. There's a bunch of information everywhere regarding this. But again, I want to thank everybody. I really do from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Everybody has a lot of things to do. We got kids. We got to go to school. We got to go to work. The football game's on. I got this movie that I'm waiting to see. So it really means a lot that you guys take the time, sit down and watch this. So thank you again. And there will be more videos in the future. But again, this was my review of the Hebrew Goddess, part 2, to complement part 1. And thank you again. Leave comments. Let's get into the comment section. Let's talk about this. What do you guys think? Is this all new stuff that you guys never heard about before? Is there some things you heard and just never like pursued more, finding the information for it? Let's talk about it in the comments, because I would love to see what you guys think about all this information. But other than that, leave a like and please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bless.